Alright, so welcome on back to the Mountain Man, y'all. Quick little recap for you today, because this was a pretty short episode. And the main thing that we had to talk about is just one thing. It's Huck's secret. It's no longer just like a theory. What could it be about? Like, what's his secret? I don't know. Well, we know now. So, yeah, pretty darn horrific. So welcome on back to the old Mountain Man. Welcome to another recap. This is of episode 9 called Where's Wild Bill? Huck's Secret. I really hate how they're naming the episodes. I wish they'd go back. Hopefully they're listening. Like, just put after that. Like, give it. I like when they. It'd be cool if they wrote Sons of Appalachia, episode 9, and then put in quotes and a real episode name, not just Where's Wild Bill, Huck's Secret. Like, just call it Huck's Secret. I think that sounds good. I don't know. But that's just me. They can do whatever. And, well, nah, I was going to say something about the AI thumbnails, but whatever. I use AI too, so I guess it's not that big of a deal. Anyways, let's start off. I got to look at my notes. Is going to be the laptop today because I didn't feel like writing notes. I don't really do that anymore because it just takes forever. So yeah, starting off, for some reason they decided to show us like 3 minutes of footage from the end of the last episode. I guess because it wouldn't make sense, but they did have a recap, so I'm really not sure why they did that. But either way, Buck and Huck are looking for Wild Bill. He's still out there. We heard gunshots in the last episode, and well, we get to hear him again in this episode because it's the same scene for some reason. So it doesn't really get going until like 6 minutes or so. And well, they keep hearing like the clicking sound out there. So I guess the cave creatures are just hooting and hollering and whatnot. And then they end up finding Wild Bill shortly after. But I mean, he's kind of okay. I mean, he does have a bag over his head. He's got a bag over his head. He's got tape over his mouth. And, you know, he's all kind of like, just so he can't escape. He's all disoriented, making sounds and whatnot. But then he had some blood on his hands. It looked a little bit like paint or ketchup, but we won't go there. I don't know. I guess he had blood on his hands. He said that he got into a little bit of a scuffle with one of the 13th Dominion members. And I think he like kind of implied that he, I guess, got grazed by a knife or something like that. I'm not really sure. You know how he talks. You can't really hear and understand him unless he's got captions. And he didn't have any on. So, yeah. But he also had a big old number 13 marked in his own blood, or one of their blood, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, big number 13 on his shirt. His classic shirt. It's ruined now. It kind of sucks. I'm sure he has a whole closet full of those camo shirts. But either way, big old number 13 in red blood on his shirt. His hat was missing. They ended up getting it back though. They got his jacket back. They got everything back. And then they just kind of, you know, decided to just kind of stand and talk. They kept hearing stuff everywhere. Cave creatures every which way. And they're like, well, we should probably get on out of here. But, you know, they're just walking throughout the woods, trying to escape the cave creatures. And they eventually do. They get back to Buck's truck. And, yeah, then they kind of have a little bit of a discussion. You know, they're safe now from harm's way. This is when Huckleberry is finally like, well, y'all, I should tell you something. I'm going to finally tell you my secret. And he doesn't tell him until a week after this for some reason. But, you know, he just kind of realized that he finally had to tell it because, of course, you know, Buck and Bill, I mean, you know, they're kind of in danger now. I mean, Bill could have got killed out there in the woods. And he's got a big number 13 on him. So obviously it's from the 13th Dominion. And Huck's like, well, I got to come clean. So he does. A week later, Buck and Bill meet Huck around the fire. And it's time to tell his secret. And what his secret is, my goodness, it will blow your mind. So here it is, y'all. Huckleberry was a member of the 13th Dominion. I'm acting like you haven't already watched the episode. Of course you have. You wouldn't be watching this if you didn't already watch the episode. So I don't know why I'm acting like it's a spoiler or something like that. Huckleberry was a member of the 13th Dominion back when he was, I don't know, probably 18 around or so. I don't know. But he was pretty young, I think. And it was before he met Trapper, before he joined the Ames team. He was a member of the 13th Dominion. Because remember, Huckleberry was in the war. So when he got out of the war, I guess his war buddies and him just decided, you know where the real money's at? It's in hunting these mysterious cryptid creatures. And they're out here. And we know they're out here. Huck's always believed in Bigfoot. He had his encounter from back in the day, of course. And, well, he knew they're out there, so why not? Yeah, I'll join this team. And I'll be getting paid millions for these damn cryptids, and all I gotta do is go on out in the woods and catch a few. So he did, and apparently he was just hunting, catching cryptids left and right and killing the cryptids And that's the part he's not very proud of course, because that's what the 13th Dominion, is all about. They don't like, they're ruthless people. They just are killing these cryptids for fun. Well, to get the money from it, really. And I don't know where they're selling them to, because you think that would kind of make the news, but whatever. Maybe not. Who knows? But either way, yeah, Huckleberry's not proud of, obviously, his past with the 13th Dominion. And that's why they're called the 13th Dominion, because the team started out with just 13 members, all people from the war. So it's funny. Maybe, I don't know, maybe they were so affected by that. They say, come out of the war, you're never the same. Maybe that's what happened. And that's why Huckleberry just wasn't thinking straight, and he just joined the team with them. I don't know. I think he just needed money, so he did that. And he just wasn't thinking straight. But then it was Trapper that was the one that actually, set him straight and knocked some sense into him. And he was like, are you really happy with what you're doing, Huckleberry? And he said, no, I'm really not. So that's when he just kind of decided, just kind of hit him. Hey, why don't we make our own team? And so that's how the Ames team was born. But unfortunately, this kind of contradicts what we already knew before, that, Trapper, Jeff, and Willie started the Ames team. Now I guess it was Huckleberry and Trapper that did. So I don't know. I think they got to explain that in the next episode. What the hell is that's all about? Because I always thought that Trapper made the team with Jeff and Willie, and it was like the other ones that were just kind of hired on the show. That's how I always took it. But I know they've always, hunted monsters and stuff on their own, but I thought they only joined up as a team. Like, I don't know, I didn't think it was that much before Mountain Monsters, but apparently it was a long time ago. I'm not really sure, but I don't know how long exactly Huckleberry hunted these monsters with the 13th Dominion. They never made that really clear. But either way, yeah, that's pretty much all we know about the 13th Dominion. Huckleberry doesn't want this to change our perception of him, of course, and rightfully so, and it doesn't. That was back 50, 60 years ago, so it really doesn't change a whole lot. Or unless it was more recently. I'm not exactly sure. They didn't really get into dates on when the actual Ames team was born and when, the 13th Dominion, Huckleberry left them. I'm not really sure. But yeah, either way, it's pretty darn cool to finally know Huck's secret. Obviously, he's not involved with them anymore, and he states that he doesn't even know who the team members are anymore, because that was like a really long time ago. So they could be completely different people by now, of course. But yeah, that's all we know about Huck's secret. That was his big secret, guys. So what do you think? I don't know. That's kind of how the episode ends. Right around there, after Huck kind of reveals his secret. Obviously, the Sons of Appalachia don't have the technology that the 13th Dominion has. Like, they got drones in the sky. They're watching them when they take a leak in the woods. As Huckleberry says, just at any point, they're always there. They're always watching. They never get in an episode, but they're always there. They're just a step away. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, that sure would be scary to have these people just watching out in the woods like that all the time. There's more than 13 of them, probably. I don't know. Anyways, kind of confusing. There's just a lot going on. But at the same time, not all that much. And that's why this wasn't my favorite episode in the world. It was just kind of, it was cool to learn Huck's secret and figure out what that was finally. But other than that, it was kind of a little bit of a slower episode, but like more of a filler one. Especially that really got me when it took 6 minutes to actually start with new content. But oh well, Lee Kirkland's still doing a great job editing them all. He's doing it all by himself, so he did a good job. But anyways, what would I give it out of 10? It's gonna be on the lower side. I'll give it a 6 out of 10. I just can't make it that high because of all the content in it that we already saw, and it was only 34 minutes to begin with. And the length doesn't matter that much as long as it's good. But there was quite a lot of filler stuff in this, Well, it did kind of have me on the edge of my seat. So, it was cool to learn Huck's secret. I can't say I'm really happy that Huck was on the team, but what are you going to do? As long as he's not on anymore, then I think it's okay. Anyways, thanks for watching, y'all. Let me know what you think of this episode in the comments. I feel like a lot of people are going to really like it for some reason. But yeah, I just give it a 6 out of 10 because it was kind of one of the more slower paced ones. But hopefully episode 10, I think that one, because it's the big 10th episode, should be a really good one. But we'll see. We'll find out probably in a couple weeks, because I think they said it'll be a while until the next episode. So yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see y'all next time. Hoorah! Gonna catch some monsters.